Hi, this is James from the Simulated Trading YouTube channel. Welcome aboard, welcome to the channel. What we're going to do in this video is do some very basic simulation, some techniques that are very simple to do. But in doing that, it's going to reveal an absolutely important principle, an absolutely important way of trading a strategy that may very well change the way that many of you are going to trade. And possibly after making this change, it could be a life-changing impact on you, because it is such a powerful strategy. Let's illustrate it now. Let's trade Apple, and I'm going to go over to the trade window. I'm going to delete what's there and go ahead and buy 100 shares of Apple. Now, how much would that cost us? Well, take a look. Wow, $27,000. So if you wanted to buy 100 shares of Apple, $27,000. Okay, let's go ahead and analyze this. Now, what I'm going to do is right click, and then select Analyze Trade. That brings me in another window, and I want to make sure everything is cleared out when I get to this window. So I'm going to go through and click here and say reset all the parameters, the dates, and all of that stuff, because I could have been running simulations previously and want to make sure they are cleared out. Alright, let's assume that the price of Apple goes up to $292 on the same day that we're trading it. So let's change this to $292. Now, this shows how much profit we would have if that were to happen, well, not instantaneously, but on the same day that we bought Apple. So we have a profit of well over $2,000. Now let's take a look at what happens if we change the volatility. So let's go with this window. Now, I want to point out that you get to these windows by clicking this little gear. Normally, you'll probably see it like this. You won't see those boxes at all. You have to click here, and then they'll appear. This gives us a small window. We can increase volatility. Let's increase it to, let's say, 5%. Now, as I increase it, notice the notice the profit. And you see it doesn't change at all. So increasing volatility has no impact. What if we decrease it? Let's get rid of that and put a negative 5%. Any change in profit? None. So we look at that and say, hey, our simulation shows that volatility is not going to impact this. All right, let's put that back to 0. So no impact for volatility, but what about time? Remember, we said we were simulating. We just simulated if the price went up to $292 on the same day. But what if the time passes? Well, we have two ways of changing time. We can click on the calendar and just go to a particular date, or we could just advance the date or decrease the date. So let's advance it. 12, 13, 14, 15. Hey, no change. Go through, and we go all the way down to the 21st, the day that option is going to expire, and no change. So we would conclude, and we already knew, that the date changing on 100 shares isn't going to impact it. And also volatility will not impact 100 shares of stock. Okay, so that's what we've done with 100 shares of stock. Let's make a different trade. Let's go ahead and take this off. Go back into trade, and this time we're going to purchase a 290 call. So let's go here. This is going to be out of the money, of course. Here we go. 290. Did I get that right? Yeah, 290 call. All right, and notice it has changed it. How much do we pay? All right, $21. All right, 21 bucks. Didn't pay much for it. All right, let's go ahead and analyze it. All right, so this one, the old one's out, this one's in. Okay, and everything's been reset. Okay. Now, let's say, once again, that our price goes on the same day to $292. Okay, we get about $600 worth of profit. Now let's look at some impacts. Previously, we went through and we looked at what's the impact of volatility. And here, let's increase it using our simulation technique. And we see that as volatility increases, we make more money. So in that case, we'd say, yeah, volatility can impact it. If it goes up, what was about 600 is now getting closer and closer to 700, about $680. But what if it went the other way? What if it was negative instead of positive? Well, now we're below $500. So we'd conclude then that volatility with this out of the money call that we purchased could have a big impact. So volatility greatly matters. All right, let's go ahead and set volatility to 0. Our price is still $292. Let's take a look at the impact of time. On time, let's increase it. Now we're starting with about $580. We increase it, and now we're at the 15. And oh, we're below $480. We keep going. Now the 18th, oh, below 400. Let's bring it to the day that the option will expire. Well, we went from around $600 to less than $250. So from that we see that with this out of the money call, time could have a major impact. Okay, let's do something different again. Let's go ahead and reset these. Let's take this one out, and let's go through and trade. We want to get a 260 call. 260 call. Now how much will I pay for that? Oh, a little over $1,100. So the 260 call is an in the money call. We're going to pay a little over $1,100 for this. Let's see how it performs. Get rid of that. And right click once again to go into analyze. Alright, let's see. We want to have this one in, and I think I already reset, but I'm going to reset again just to be sure. So once again, our profit is about sitting at 0. And we want to simulate what happens if we go, our price goes to 292. Wow. Look at that. Do you notice this? We're talking $2,000 worth of profit. Now, how much profit did we get when we bought the 100 shares? Let's go back to that. Almost the same. Almost the same. Let that sink in for a moment. We are making almost as much profit with our in-the-money call as we did with the 100 shares. But once again, how much did it cost? $1,100. A little more than $1,100. But let's simulate some of the things we did before. Let's make sure we have, yes, we've got the in-the-money call. Let's go through and simulate what happens if we change volatility. So let's bring up volatility. And you see, well, as I increase volatility, it's having some impact, but it's almost, well, it is pretty well insignificant. What we have now is about what we had at first. It's at 2,083. Let's go back down. Yeah, it's 82, 81. It's not changing very much at all. Let's see. 0. We were at 2,078. Let's bring it down to negative 5%. And you see it is changing, but we were at 78, and when we get down to 5, negative 5%, we're right at 77. Yeah, it changes, but that's not significant at all, is it? So volatility, for just about any practical purposes, not really impacted. Well, let's think about time, because that was a major problem with our out-of-the-money option, wasn't it? So let's go and simulate now change in time. Now let's see, we're at 2,078 and some change. We're going to increase time, and it's going down a little bit, but not a lot. Matter of fact, when we get to the 21st, the day that the option would expire at the end of the day, it's still at 2,047. There's some impact, but not much of anything to consider at all. Okay, so our in-the-money option gives us just about as much profit, pretty close to the same amount of profit that you would get by actually owning 100 shares of stock. Okay, let's look at our takeaways for that. Takeaways. The stock. To buy 100 shares of stock cost us $27,000. The profit we were getting, now this varies from particular prices when we run the simulation. Last time I ran it, about $2,300. I think it may have been $2,200 this time, but you get the picture. And of course, we didn't have to worry about volatility impacting. We didn't have to worry about time impacting. If we bought an out-of-the-money call, it was very, very cheap. But of course, it's so cheap because we set it up such that the price was going to go above the strike price of the call, and we did get profit then, $600. However, we learned that volatility could impact it a lot. Volatility could change it plus or minus $100. So it could make it better or it could make it worse. But time was massive. We found that the amount of profit you'd make, even with the same price, $292 price of the underlying, the amount of loss per day could be massive. But then when we went to the 260 in the money call, it only cost us $1,100 approximately. And that, if we took 27,000, let's do that now. Let's clear some of this. If we took 27,000 and divided that by 1,100, or numbers similar to that, the person buying the 100 shares of stock would be paying almost 25 times more than you're paying if you use this in the money call. Please let that sink in. A person buying 100 shares would pay almost 25 times what you'd pay by using an in the money call, and the profit would be almost the same at the particular price that we showed there. Now, of course, how do you select the right in the money call? Well, perhaps we can go over that in another video. I hope this helps. I hope this is really beneficial, and see you in the next video.